Hello my dears, and welcome back to my corner of the internet. Today I have a book talk video for you guys, but it's going to be a little different. It's actually a tag video. My friend Andrea over at Je suis chez moi tagged me in this Would You Rather author edition. So it's just a bunch of questions, which, thinking of it as a writer, which would you prefer to have to write? So we're going to get into that, and then at the end of the video I've got some shout outs for you guys. Okay, so the first question is, would you rather have a male main character or a female main character? I've written from both points of view before. I tend to, though, go for a female main character. Would you rather wake up before dawn every day to write or stay up into the early morning hours to write? I am often up in the early morning hours writing, so I'll pick that one because I am not a morning person. Would you rather write a book that's torturous to write but which is very popular, or write a book that is fun to write but which is only known by a small audience? When I hear this question, I think of the Hemingway quote that says, "There's nothing to writing. All you have to do is sit down at a typewriter and bleed," which is very, very true. So, I mean, I guess I'll go with a book that's torturous to write, but which is very popular. I find writing to be a, sometimes a difficult task in that it's, I don't know if I'd say torturous, but it can definitely be painful. So I'll go with that one. Write a sci-fi story or a fantasy story? I think I'll go with fantasy for that. I find with sci-fi you kind of want to stick to something that could possibly be plausible in some realm of something, whereas with fantasy you can kind of just make it all up, like the worlds, the rules, the everything. You have just total free reign, I find, so I'd pick fantasy. Use first person or third person? I've done both. I find first person easier to write, though I tend to often go with third person. Meet any character of any book / short story in real life for one day, or personally know any author you wish. Personally know any author I wish. That would be amazing. Amazing, amazing. Only be able to write your book in scenes from end to beginning, or only be able to write it in scenes that jump around in the timeline randomly. Definitely write only in scenes that jump around the timeline randomly. I think writing a scene from end to beginning would be really difficult, though maybe that would be a fun exercise to do sometimes, try to write a scene from end to beginning. Would you rather only be able to write dialogue if you act out the voices out loud, or only be able to write action if you act it out in real life? Definitely the voices. Because when I'm working, sometimes I'll, read out bits anyway, either most generally to myself, but if my husband's around, to him. Would you rather publish with the most successful publishing house in your genre, but have to wait 2 years to see your book in print, or self-publish with no expenses or marketing assistance, but see your book in print within 3 months? This is a really interesting question. I think any writer truly wants to go with that big publishing house. You have a more guaranteed rate of success, and then you have the marketing assistance and things like that. That said, I find the notion of self-publishing very interesting. And I think more than ever, we're currently in a place where you can have more control over the art that you create. I think recently at the Grammys, for the first time ever, an artist won a major award who didn't have a label backing them. Like, that's insane. So I think we're at this point where we're kind of taking more control of our creativity. And YouTube is a great example of that too. There's so many talented musicians and filmmakers and artists of all different kinds that are putting out their own art on YouTube and bypassing traditional means. So I think we're going to see a lot of that in publishing as well. And I recently read, I can't remember the name of the publishing house, but they've recently opened up kind of a self-publishing branch where they will help guide you and teach you how to do it. So who knows? I think it's interesting either way. And I think if you have a big enough following on a social media platform, I know you mentioned this too, Andrea, you know, you could have a successful self-published book. So who knows? Who knows what'll happen? I'm excited to see where the future of publishing goes. Yeah. Let's see. Would you rather write a goofy story or a serious story? A serious story. That's what I tend to write. Have an authorial voice that always sounds like the narrator from Planet Earth, or have an authorial voice that always sounds like Captain Kirk, clearly the narrator from Planet Earth. Would you rather write a story knowing you will have to kill off the main character eventually, or write a story knowing that everyone the main character is close to will eventually have to be killed off? I don't know. I've killed them all at some point, you know. There comes points where either the main character's got to go, or I don't know. I don't know how to choose. I guess the main character, because that's less people that have to die in a story. Would you rather leave your ending somewhat open and bittersweet, or leave your ending on a cliffhanger? I would, again, as Andrea said, it depends on if this is a part of a series. I've read some standalone books that end on cliffhangers that are very frustrating. So I guess, assuming that this is not a series, then definitely somewhat open and bittersweet. 14. Have your cover art designed by Tim Burton, or have your cover designed by Stan Lee? I guess the question is, like, a more realistic art or a more abstract kind of weird art. I love Tim Burton. And, I mean, I love Stan Lee too. I'm going to go with Tim Burton, though, I think. Yeah. Tim Burton. What have I done here? Flunked up the questions. Reading from my iPad. Write in many different genres or only in one genre? I would pick many different genres. Because, yeah, it's fun to change things up. You don't want to kind of get just stuck having to write one genre, because that's, you know, unless it's what you want, you know. You have people who write sci-fi and that's all they want to write, which is great. But I like the freedom of being able to jump around to different genres. Have all of your characters have some physical deformity, or have all your characters have some internal twisted nature? Internal twisted nature, for sure. Have an orphaned main character with good friends, or a main character with a good-sized family and family problems? The good-sized family and family problems, for sure. I love writing about family problems. And I love reading about family problems. I think it's one of those, you know, along with love, family issues are kind of a universal theme that we can all relate to some degree. So we either, A, read it and can relate, or B, we read it and we kind of put our own problems in perspective and think, well, at least it's not like that. Write the sex scene or not write the sex scene? If it calls for the sex scene, then definitely write it. Yeah, I have no problem writing a sex scene. There's definitely ways to write a good one, and ways that it goes horribly off the rails, so I think it's something that has to be done delicately if you don't want it to be ridiculous. But yeah. Write about uncertain dangers and intrigue, or write about direct confrontation and violence? I think write about uncertain dangers and intrigue. And the final question, number 20, is have to answer any question put to you by your fans, or have no fans asking you questions? Yeah, I have fans asking you questions. I think that's great. I think that's kind of a mark that people are invested and they want to know more about the universe where your stories are taking place and the people inside of that universe. I think if no one's asking questions, then no one's all that interested, you know? So, yes, definitely that. So now that we've got those out of the way, well, not out of the way, I absolutely loved this tag. Thank you so much for tagging me in it. And if there's any writers out there who would like to answer this tag, I'm going to put the questions down below. Please, please, please film it and let me know that you did, because I love hearing other people's answers about things like this. So now I've got my 3 shout outs for this week. The first shout out goes to Tobart1965. He is this really interesting man here on YouTube who is super supportive. I love watching his videos. He's got these dogs that are just the cutest. I really like his sense of humor, and I love watching his videos. And if you don't know of Tobar already, you should definitely go and check out his channel. A link will be down below. Second shout out today is to a channel called Kezzy's Corner. She is this lovely woman. She does vlogs and hauls and all kinds of stuff that us ladies seem to love to watch. So definitely check her out and let her know that I sent you. And finally, the final shout out for today, I know it's her birthday today, and that's Balkan Princess. She has been almost since day one on my channel, so supportive. She comments on every video. You get a real sense that she cares and puts a lot of time and effort into watching your videos, and that's just so amazing. And especially when you're first starting out, when someone comes to your channel and they're so genuinely supportive, it's just such a blessing and it just blows you away. So thank you for that, Rose, and I'll put her link down below. And happy birthday. And yeah, that's it for this video. I hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will see you on Monday. Bye, guys.